Hi guys, and welcome to my, what are we in, April Catwalk TBR. Little disclaimer, today is the 13th of March when I am filming this. I have not made a dent, very much of a dent in my stack, so I will be taking a punishment because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 books sitting over there, and I've only read one so far. I have read other books. There's one book I started at the end of February and finished like 2 days into March, but that was for something else, and like a book club. And now there's a readathon that I'm doing, and I'm currently reading a book for that one, which is the group read. So yeah, I'm like 100% confident I'm not gonna get all this done, especially where it's the 13th. And I figure while I have time, let's just go ahead and film it. So I will do, like I have started doing, I'll do a completely separate wrap up for the game. So you'll see that obviously at the start, closer to the start of April. This one will go up at the end of March, and then the wrap up will go out at the start of April. So yeah, I'm just tossing things around. Let's go ahead and just get into this. Oh, before we do get to the board, I do need to draw a punishment, and that's one thing I like about this, and I don't mind taking a punishment, is I am just drawing out of my to be read jar, and this is like the priority read. I have started just naturally, I guess, making that the first read of the month. Like I can't get to the rest of those books on my TBR until I read what I pull out, unless it's an ebook. Then it has to be the first ebook that I read of the month, and obviously then I can kind of start in on my physical TBR to do that. But it's kind of like this has to be the first one. So if I select, for example, on my game, if I land on See in the Dark, which is to read an ebook, I can't read this book from my game until I read the punishment read, if the punishment read is an ebook. So that's like technically the first read. So I will say I did complete the punishment read for March, but I'm going to have the punishment read for February that I pulled for March. And now we're going to pull my punishment for March for my April read. If that makes sense. So yeah, let me just grab that and we'll go ahead and just delve right on in. Okay, I've adjusted the lighting a little bit, so hopefully that's just a little bit better. So, to be read jar. These are books that I won from Goodreads. Most of these are going to be ebooks. There might be a couple of physical like books in here, maybe a couple of ARCs, we'll see. Let's do this one. Put down my pen. Generation Manifestation by Berezani. So let's look this up. Okay, so this is part of a series, and it's book number 1 in the Gen M, like Mary, May, March, whatever word you want to put. Gen M series. There are 2 primary works in this series. I don't know if it's just a duology or not, but so far there's only 2 books out. So Generation Manifestation by Berezani. This is a young adult sci-fi dystopian superhero fantasy, are the tags. And let's see, the synopsis says, testing day is coming. The genetic wars that turned most of the planet into a wasteland are over. The so-called dregs, DNA regulars, and superpowered supergenics now live separately from each other. The supergenics in the shiny towers of Jupiter City, the dregs across the river in the squat concrete buildings of the boroughs. But some dreg parents bear supergenic children. Under repressive laws, I lost my place. Oh, there we go. Under repressive laws, they must be sent to live with their own kind. They are Gen M. To find these special few, every teen faces testing day. When her turn comes, socially isolated Caitlin Farrell is determined to manifest powers like the heroes in the comic book propaganda she loves. If she fails, she faces a lifetime of loneliness and drudgery in the burrows. How much is Caitlin willing to sacrifice to be a Supergirl? When she uncovers dark secrets, does she dare start another war to reveal the truth? And who will pay the price? Let's see. It says it's a dark dystopian novel with tough choices and earned wisdom, with heart-rending twists. Let's see. The adventure starts here strong, conflicted female protagonist, neurodiversity, LGBT positive, and love story light. So we'll have neurodivergent. I don't know if it's going to be autism or something else, but obviously I'll find out as I read. So that's the punishment book. So if I land on See in the Dark or to read an ebook, then if I get an ebook somewhere in my game, I have to read Generation Manifestation before I can read any other ebook on my TBR. So that's the plan. Now let's go ahead and get into the roles and find out what the prompts are going to be. Alrighty, so here is the game. Now, let me pull up my random number generator. Okay, so we have 49 spots. And let me turn that off so you can see the phone. Okay, so I could start anywhere from spot 1 to 49. And we're going to start on spot number 8. All right, I've got my Crookshanks. Spot number 8 is right there on Litterbox. So that's where we are starting. Now let's go ahead and start off with roll number 1. All right, so I have a 1 and a 2, so I'm moving 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. Great hearing, so an audiobook. And this is going to be the same thing. I have to read my punishment ebook before I can listen to the audiobook. So, audiobook. Okay, we are on spot number 11. And let's see, great hearing. It's right here. That's the first mark on great hearing. Okay. All right, so for great hearing, that is to listen to an audiobook. So, and this was the first official roll for the Cat-Walk TBR. So, in this jar, this was my my paternal, so my dad's mom, her thing, and she gave this to me. She's still alive, but her health's not the greatest. But I'm grateful that she's still just, I can write letters and stuff to her. Anyway, I don't want to get morbid. So this was hers. In here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folded up pieces of paper. These are audiobooks that I got at some point, and I just haven't listened to these yet. Once these are gone, then I will just, when I get this prompt, I will just look on Scribd or Audible for a free audiobook and go that way. But while I have these, let's just go ahead and pick out of these just to use these ones up. So, okay, this is the one we're gonna go with. This is on Chirped, which is another audiobook thing, and this is One Way or Another by Kara McDowell. I don't remember anything about that one. And Chirped is a one that you can get, sometimes they'll have deals on audiobooks where they're like $5 or $6 or cheaper. So I was looking at that for a bit, but I just don't listen to audiobooks often enough. So, and it's not a subscription, so yeah. All right, One Way or Another by Kara McDowell is a standalone. It's a Christmas romance, contemporary, young adult. It also has a tag for mental health. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and read the synopsis. So it says, the average person makes 35,000 decisions every single day. That's about 34,999 too many for Paige Collins, who lives in debilitating fear of making the wrong choice. The simple act of picking an art elective is enough to send her into a spiral of what-ifs. What if she's destined to be a famous ceramicist, but wastes her talent in drama club? What if there's a carbon monoxide leak in the ceramic studio and everyone drops dead? Grim, but possible. That's why when Paige is presented with 2 last-minute options for Christmas vacation, she's paralyzed by indecision. Should she go with her best friend and longtime crush, Fitz, to his family's romantic mountain cabin, or should she accompany her mom to New York, a city Paige has spent her whole life dreaming about? Just when it seems like Paige will crack from the pressure of choosing, fate steps in the form of a slippery grocery store floor, and Paige's life splits into 2 very different parallel paths. One path leads to New York, where Paige falls for the city and the charms of her unexpected tour guide. The other leads to the mountains, where Paige might finally get her chance with Fitz, until her anxiety threatens to ruin everything. However, before Paige gets her happy ending in either destiny, she'll have to face the truth about her struggle with anxiety and learn that you don't have to be perfect to deserve true love. So that sounds like that's going to be good. Definitely a dual, not POV, but kind of, I don't know, you get it from here and that. So we're going to see kind of what happens depending on what path she ends up going on. All right, roll number 2 is a 5 and a 2, so 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A water. So a book that takes place at, near, or has something to do with water on the cover, or actually in the book. Okay, I'm going to move Crookshanks for a second. That is spot number 18, which is right down here. So that's the first prompt on number 18. And then water, that is the first one on water as well. Okay. Okay, so prompt number 2 on my Cat-Walk TBR game was water. So this is a book that takes place at or near water, is the preference. If I don't find anything, then I can go with water on the cover. But this one I think does take place, plus there's water on the cover. So I do think this takes place near water, maybe in water at some point. But this is going to be Has Anyone Seen My Toes? This one is one that I won from Goodreads. So written by Christopher Buckley. He's written quite a few books. Anyway, okay. This one says, during the pandemic, an aging screenwriter is holed up in a coastal South Carolina town with his beloved second wife, Peaches. That's why I think this is going to take place near water, because it says coastal South Carolina, plus the guy is jumping into the ocean on the cover. So, let's see. I will be very disappointed if that is not the case. He's been binge eating for a year and developed a notable rapport with the local fast food chain Hippo King. He struggles to work on a ludicrous screenplay about a Nazi attempt to kidnap FDR and, naturally, an article for Entomology Today on English words for Carthaginian origin. He thinks he has COVID. His wife thinks he is losing his mind. In short, your typical pandemic worries. Things were going from bad to worse even before his doctor suggested a battery of brain tests. He knows what that means. Dementia. But even in these scary times, there are plenty of things to distract him. His iPhone is fat-shaming him. He's been trying to read Proust and thinks the French novelist missed his true calling as a parfumeur. And he's discovered nefarious Russian influence on the local coroner's race. Why is Putin so keen to control who decides who died peacefully and who by foul play in Pimento County? Could it be the local military base? So, I think this is going to have a couple of things in here that are going to make people very uncomfortable, like the whole thing with Putin because of the war going on in Ukraine right now, COVID, dementia, fat shaming from the iPhone, binge eating, which I have struggled with binge eating disorder, so I don't know how that's going to look, but we will see. So it does sound like this is going to be a humorous read, but we will see. And I hope there's a lot of water in this. Okay, roll number 3 is a 5 and a 4. Okay, so 9 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we're on cat video. All right. Okay, so that means I'm gonna have to pull a booktuber and base things off of their game for however many prompts that they do. Again, this is fine. I don't ever plan on completing those. That's spot number 27. Like, I don't plan on completing my TBR. I try to complete those prompts, but okay, so I added a mark to number 27. Getting close to having to add a roll on that because we're already up to 3 on that one. Cat videos, we're now up to number 4, but I have to get that 10 times. So we're still good. Now let me grab my container that has all the booktubers that I have seen that have games. Now obviously there's more booktubers out there that have games that I don't have in this because some people have just started creating their own games and they're just not in there yet. So let's see who I will be basing the next however many prompts are on this. So let me grab that. All right, here is my container of booktubers that have a TBR game. And let's go ahead and see which one I'll be watching. Now, because we are in, we're about halfway through March, this will be for their March TBR game, which that tends to be the case because sometimes their TBR game for like in this case April won't be up until it's a couple days into April, but I like to film early, so this is go off of their most recent. So sometimes it'll be March, sometimes it'll be earlier than that. So this is the lucky booktuber I'll be watching, and this is Sam, A Life of Lit. I don't remember the last TBR game that she did. Let me take a look. Okay, the last video that she posted was about annotating, and that was a month ago. And let's see. Okay, so the most recent TBR game that she has is for February. So she hasn't posted a March one, at least as of yet, with it being the 13th. So I will go and watch her February TBR game, get the prompts, and then I'll get the books that I'm going to base off of her prompts. However many prompts she gets is how many books I've got to pull. All right, guys, so I have watched Sam's video. So the most recent one is from her February. I'm better make a note of that so I can link it. She does not have a March game out yet, which is perfectly fine. So February is the one I'm going with. And she ended up with like 10 books. Let's go ahead and get into what Sam got. I will link the video that I got these prompts from in the description box so you can see what she picked for the prompts. So the first one that she got is what she calls a TBR treat. I'm not going to say if it's like a prompt jar or anything like that. You'll have to watch her videos for that. But the prompt she ended up getting is viewer recommend. Now I don't have anything that's a viewer recommend, so I'm going to pull out of my to be read jar. So let's go ahead and take the lid off of that, shake that just a little bit, and then we'll see what I get out of this. So this is more like a Goodreads recommend type of a thing, but it's still, I have absolutely no control for this. So this is the one we're going with. I dropped it. I got it. Okay. And it is Unleashing the Shadows by Patti Frazee. I don't know if you can see that. Let me look this up and see what this is about. Okay, so Unleashing the Shadows by Patti Frazee, I'm guessing. This one I didn't have marked, but the only way it's going to be in that to be read jar is if it was one that I won from Goodreads. So I know I don't have a physical copy of it. So this is going to be another digital read, so a read from my ebook. This is according to the image on Goodreads, it says this is a paranormal mystery. 186 pages for the paperback. It says there's only one edition, so I don't know. I'll figure it out and get that. So it also says this is LGBT, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on with anything here. So let's just read the synopsis. It says, Maddie Patterson's biggest secret isn't that she's gay. It's that ghosts follow her everywhere. At school, in her bedroom, in the family living room, even at the dinner table with her parents sitting right there. She's coping with it all until one ghost seems to beckon her. She finally confides in her friend and secret crush, Kat, who likes to keep to herself and listen to retro punk music on an old portable CD player. Kat can see spirits too, so she and Maddie join forces with a local paranormal society. Now, instead of being hunted by ghosts, Maddie hunts them, or so she thinks. When Maddie works with the paranormal team at an abandoned convent, she is taunted by a creeping spirit who may or may not be her spirit guide, and the ghost who first beckoned her makes another ominous appearance. Maddie, Kat, and the ghost hunting team suddenly find themselves in the middle of a darkness that pulls them back again and again. Just when the team begins to wonder if the shadows are being unleashed because of their very presence, they realize they are deep in the magnetic field of a decades-long murder. So, that actually sounds rather intriguing, rather good, and we will see. So I'm trying to pull books from my February, right? Yes, from my February TBR that did not get read, so I can try and get them done because I really, really do want to read these books. Prompt number 2 is... so she got skipped a prompt. So what I'm going to do with this one, so she went and got all of her prompts, and then she could decide which one she just wasn't feeling and decide to skip it, or at the end go, I'm going to take this book off, or I'm just going to skip it. I'm going to leave it, and I'm basically going to say use it as a freebie. If I don't get one book read out of all of these books, then that one book is one that I don't have to take a punishment for. So, but she got a prompt. So the prompt that she got, because it didn't get a book, so she drew a prompt from her prompt jar, and it was to read a book that has a map. This one was on my February TBR, and I unfortunately didn't get to it, and I really, really want to. So I'm going to put A Time of Dread by John Gwynne on here. This does have a map. All right, there. And just in case, I've had a couple of new subscribers, so hello, welcome. And in case you don't know what this one is about, says Brave the Shadows, Wield the Sword. A race of warrior angels, the Ben Elim, once vanquished a mighty demon horde. Now they rule the banished lands, but their peace is brutally enforced. In the south, hot-headed Riv is desperate to join the Ben Elim's peacekeeping force until she unearths a deadly secret. In the west, the giantess Sig investigates demon sightings and discovers signs of an uprising and black magic. And in the snowbound north, Drem finds mutilated corpses on a hunting expedition, the work of a predator or something far worse. It's a time of shifting loyalties and world-changing dangers. Difficult choices will need to be made, because in the shadows, demons are gathering, waiting for their time to rise. I have read the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne and absolutely loved it. So I do like John Gwynne's writing. This is the start of a new series called Of Blood and Bone. But I'm looking forward to this book. So I'm really excited for that one. And hopefully I will finally get to that one in April. Okay, so this third one, she got what's called like a challenge. So this one, the challenge is that she has to pick 2 books for one prompt. And the prompt that she got is one-word title. Now, when you watch her game, she only picks one book with a one-word title. So the dual one, she moves to the next prompt, but I'm going to do it how it should have been and how she says in the video it should have been. But she's doing it for the next one. So I'm doing it how she said it should have been in the game and how it was originally applied. So a book with a one-word title. I'm going with 4. It says, so this is a Divergent collection series, and it says one choice will free him. One choice breaks free of his past. One choice embraces his future. One choice exposes the dangers. One choice changes him forever. One choice will free him. So this, it says, the companion volume to the best-selling Divergent series, which I thoroughly enjoyed that series. It says, told from the perspective of the immensely popular character Tobias. The 4 pieces include the transfer, the initiate, the son, and the traitor, plus 3 additional exclusive scenes. So this is, sounds like it's a collection of short stories, but one-word title, 4. So that counts. Next up, the other book that I selected for a one-word title is a YA, and this is Haunted by R.L. Stine. Does it work better that way? There you go. Haunted by R.L. Stine. So this is a YA thriller. This one says, welcome to Fear Street. Don't listen to the stories they tell you about Fear Street. Wouldn't you rather explore it yourself and see if its dark terrors and unexplained mysteries are true? You're not afraid, are you? The Night Stalker. Melissa woke up screaming. The prowler was at her window. Or was he? The recent headlines about a Fear Street prowler had everyone on edge. Her father now kept a loaded pistol in his bedroom. That made it even more frightening and real. Then the haunting began. Her new car driving as if someone else had taken control. Her birthday presents ripped open by unseen hands. An invisible force trying to push her out the bedroom window. Out of the shadows of her bedroom came a menacing figure. Who was he? Did he really come from beyond the grave? And why had he come to kill her? If Melissa doesn't solve the mystery fast, these questions will haunt her to death. So, Haunted by R.L. Stine. That works. Okay, the next prompt that Sam got, and this is the one where she did it twice, and that is to read a new release. So she picked 2 new releases, I picked 2 one-word books. So for new release, I am counting this one because I live in the US. This was originally published in, I think it said Australia. Originally published in Australia in 2022. First US edition published in 2023. So yes, this for the US at the very least is a brand new release. I'm going to go with Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. It says, Ernie Cunningham, crime fiction aficionado, is a reluctant guest at his family reunion. Family reunions aren't for everyone, of course, but Aaron's part of a notorious crime family, and 3 years ago he witnessed his brother kill a man and immediately turned him into the police. Now Aaron's brother is being released from prison, and the family is gathering to welcome him home. As if it weren't bad enough, the reunion is taking place at a remote mountain resort. The day before Aaron's brother, excuse me, because it's Ernie and they call him Ern for short. The day before Ern's brother is set to arrive, a man's body is found frozen on the slopes. While most Cunninghams assume the man simply collapsed and died of hypothermia during the night, Ern's stepsister spots a strange detail. The man's airways are clogged with ash. He appears to have died by fire, in a pristine snowfield, without a single burn mark on him. The longer the body goes unidentified, the more overwhelmed the local policeman becomes, and the more Ern realizes it's up to him to find the murderer. Holmes, Christie, Chesterton. He's read them all. He knows what patterns to look for, what rules killers follow, and of course he knows his own family, every member of which, as he told us from the start, has killed someone. And it says, this is Knives Out and Clue meet Agatha Christie and the Thursday Murder Club in this fiendishly clever band of classic and modern murder mysteries. So if you like any of those, then you might like this. But new release. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all of these. Why do I even say I'm looking forward to this book? The next prompt is a book with a pretty cover. I'm going to go with The Lost Melody by Joanna Davidson Politano. So that's the cover. The front, there's the back. I really like the back. And then the sides are stenciled with music. There's the end pages. And then there's the front. So I think it's a pretty cover. And I'm going to go with it. So this says, when concert pianist Vivienne Mordaunt's father dies, he leaves to her the care of a patient at Hurstwell Asylum. Vivine had no idea the woman existed, and yet her portrait is shockingly familiar. When the asylum claims she was never a patient there, Vivine is compelled to discover what happened to the figure she remembers from childhood dreams. The longer she lingers in the deep shadows and forgotten towers at Hurstwell, the fuzzier the line between sanity and madness becomes. She hears music no one else does, receives strange missives with rose petals between the pages, and untangles far more than is safe for her to know. But can she uncover the truth about the mysterious woman she seeks? And is there anyone at Hurstwell she can trust with her suspicions? So, there we go. Book with a pretty cover. Okay, the next prompt, which is the 6th one that Sam got, is to read a thriller. So for this one, I'm going to go with The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. So as you can see, I got this one from Book of the Month. I don't know what this is about because I didn't read the synopsis. So it says, she's back. Meg Williams, Maggie Littleton, Melody Wild. Different names for the same person, depending on the town, depending on the job. She's a con artist who erases herself to become whoever you need her to be. A college student, a life coach, a real estate agent, but nothing about her is real. She slides alongside you and tells you exactly what you want to hear. And by the time she's done, you've likely lost everything. Kat Roberts has been waiting 10 years for the woman who upended her life to return. And now that she has, Kat is determined to be the one to expose her. But as the two women grow closer, Kat's long-held assumptions begin to crumble, leaving Kat to wonder who Meg's true target is. So as it said, a twisted domestic thriller that dives deep into the psyches and motivations of two women and their unwavering quest to seek justice for the past and rewrite the future. So, The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. So, thriller. Prompt number 7 is to read a book under 400 pages. I really want to get to this one. And this one is less than 200 pages, I believe. Yes, this is definitely less than 200 pages. It is 150 pages, it looks like. Yep, 150 pages on the nose. And that's Switched by R.L. Stine. I've read this one several times in the past. And I love this one. I think this is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Fear Street book. It says, Nicole always thought her friend Lucy's life was so much better than hers. She had cooler parents, a cuter boyfriend. Next to her, Nicole felt like such a loser. So when Lucy asked if she wanted to switch bodies, Nicole thought it sounded like a fun idea. Good for a laugh. She didn't realize the switch would actually work, or that Lucy's life might not be so sweet after all. Turns out, Lucy's got a few issues, and she's about to get her revenge using Nicole's body. So, yes, please. Okay, the next prompt, so number 8 out of the ones that Sam pulled is, and at some point she had to go back to the beginning, so it may have ended up being less, but she had to go back to the beginning and move forward. So I'm going to stop here for right now because the camera is going to die. So I will be back in just a moment once I get a little bit of juice on this. That'll be no time to you, except maybe like 0.2 of a second. Okay, so I've got just enough juice to finish this. The next prompt. Okay, so we did Switched, which was under 400 pages. Okay. The next one, she got a prompt where she could remove a book. So this is one that, again, at the end of the month, I can just say I only have to read 14 books out of the 16 to complete the TBR. To officially complete the TBR. And the 2 additional books, if there's 2 unread, I'm not going to have to take a punishment, is the way that I'm going to interpret them and apply them to my game. So yeah, so the prompt that she got to add is enemies to lovers. So for this one, I went with another one that was on my February game that did not get to, and that is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. And I did a Google search, and there's a couple of other choices that I have that I could have selected for enemies to lovers. But then I read the back of this one, and I am pretty sure this is an enemies to lovers just because of the synopsis. It says, you are cordially invited to witness the worst best man get what he deserves. A wedding planner left at the altar? Yeah, the irony isn't lost on Carolina Santos either. But despite that embarrassing blip from her past, Lena's offered an opportunity that could change her life. There's just one hitch. She has to collaborate with the best, make that worst, man from her own failed nuptials. Marketing expert Max Hartley is determined to make his mark with a coveted hotel client looking to expand its brand. But then he learns he'll be working with his brother's whip-smart, stunning, absolutely off-limits ex-fiancée, and she loathes him. And that's why I'm saying enemies to lovers. If they can nail their presentation without killing each other, they'll both come out ahead. Except Max has been public enemy number one ever since he encouraged his brother to jilt the bride, and Lena's ready to dish out a little payback of her own. Soon, Lena and Max discover animosity may not be the only emotion creating sparks between them. Still, the star-crossed couple can never be more than temporary playmates because Lena isn't interested in falling in love, and Max refuses to play runner-up to his brother ever again. So, The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. All right, next to last prompt is to read a book that has a number in the title. For this one, I am going to get caught up in a series. The fourth book I have pre-ordered. I'm curious because I think it's supposed to arrive this month, so in March. Yeah, the next book in this series is supposed to arrive March 30th. So I won't be caught up for long, but I'll be fairly close to caught up. But I'm going to read 3 Tainted Teas by Lynn Cahoon. This is book number 3 in the Kitchen Witch mystery series, and this is a cozy mystery series. I'm not going to read the back because I don't want to spoil, but basically you have Mia who buys this abandoned type school. She converts it into a catering and like a catering business that she has. Dead body pops up. Mia is new. This takes place in Idaho. And so Mia becomes suspect number 1 for the dead body. And she needs to figure out what to do to clear her name because she feels like the police obviously are missing some important details and aren't investigating the way they should. And so she inserts herself into the investigation to try to clear her name. And that's pretty much it. So cozy mysteries, there's no sex. If there is any, which I have yet to see any sex in this series, it's going to be a closed door. There's no graphic blood scenes. You don't have a lot of foul language. I mean, it might say shit or damn, maybe even hell a handful of times, if that, but I don't know. They're very fun and quick reads, and I love them. So 3 Tainted Teas by Lynn Cahoon. I'm excited to get back into this. All right, and the last prompt that Sam got was a free pick, and for this one I'm going with a book that was on my February TBR that I didn't get to, and I want to read The Sleepwalker by R.L. Stine. This is a Fear Street book, and it says she isn't safe even in her dreams. So yeah, The Sleepwalker by R.L. Stine. This says, don't let me sleepwalk again. That's what it says. Somebody help. Don't let me sleepwalk again. And this one says, 1 week after she starts her summer job on Fear Street with old Mrs. Kotler, Myra Barnes begins to sleepwalk. How terrifying to wake up outdoors in the middle of the night and not know where she is. Myra becomes even more terrified when she discovers Mrs. Kotler may be a witch. Is the old woman casting a spell on Myra to make her sleepwalk? To add to Myra's horror, she is being followed by a menacing stranger who seems to recognize her, but she's never seen him in her life. Myra's sleepwalking is leading her into more and more peril. She soon realizes she must take action. She must find out what is happening to her, or she may never leave Fear Street alive. So, The Sleepwalker by R.L. Stine, and this is short. This is more than 150 pages. This is 164 pages. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading another Fear Street books. Okay. Number 3 again. Okay, is a 3 and a 2, so moving 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great Hearing, another audiobook. Okay, let's move Crookshanks at spot number 32. Where is my pen? Here we go. Okay, number 32 And great hearing. Okay, 2 in 1 game. All right, so this third prompt, as you see, was I landed on another pair of ears, so great hearing. So that's another audiobook. So I've got my thing here. I've still got 4 books in here. So it's not like I can mix that up too much. Let's just go with this one. And this is, oh, this one I have on Audible. And that's a book about Martha Washington. So this is a nonfiction book. I've listened to a book about George Washington, and I would like to listen to or read a book about each president of the United States, as well as their wives, so the First Lady. So Martha Washington is up next, so I will listen to that. And that was written by Patricia Brady. So, I got out of it. I clicked the wrong thing. So it's a nonfiction all about the life of Martha Washington. That's pretty much all I know. All right. So now we're on the official Catwalk prompt number 4. Okay, so 4 and 2, so I'm moving 6 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kitten or adult, heads or tails. So if I get heads, it's a book that was published more than, or 5 years is the common one. So more than 5 years ago or more. Tails would be 5 years ago or less. So I like a newer release. So kitten or adult. Okay, I've grabbed a quarter. And so it's just a standard US quarter. So heads is obviously heads. And in this case, the tails is the eagle. There are some quarters that have like something that has to do with each one of the 50 United States. But this is one that was before that. This one was released in 1991 is the year marked on that. So let's go ahead and figure out how old the book is going to be. Landed on heads. I'm trying to pick it up without, it's upside down, but that is heads. So that is a book that was published 5 years ago or more. Okay, that is spot number 38. So, okay. That's on the next page. 38 is right here. And that's kitten, adult. Next page, it looks like. Yep. Okay, that's the first one there. Okay. Okay, so this fourth roll landed us on kitten or adult. This is the one where I flipped the coin. Heads is to read a book that was published 5 years ago or more. So 10, 20, 50, however old I want. Tails would have been a book that was published 5 years ago or less. So a more recent release. So I ended up with heads. So to read a book that was published 5 years ago or more. This particular book was published more than 5 years ago. And I'm going to go with a young adult. And this book is, this particular edition is 183 pages. Oh, I didn't know at the time that she wrote this, she lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That is cool. I'm going with The Twisted Window by Lois Duncan. This was published, so this was like an old library book. So definitely bought secondhand. Twisted Window. This was published, the copyright in this is 1987. So this particular one, I don't remember ever reading this particular story before. I've read several by Lois Duncan, but I don't think I've read this one. So the synopsis says, Tracy Lloyd feels Brad Johnson watching her. She looks up from her lunch, and in seconds, he's joined her table in the school cafeteria. Brad is charming, but for some reason, Tracy becomes suspicious, sensing danger. Yet his fine features and his golden grin are compelling, contrasting sharply with those of the other boys at Winfield High. Tracy's impulses take over. She accepts a date. By the time Brad arrives at her doorstep, Tracy already knows that he's not a student at her school. He doesn't even live in Winfield. Who is he, and what does he want with her? 2 nights later, Tracy stands huddled in darkness in a strange neighborhood outside the window of a strange house. Brad is straining to see inside, obsessed with the scene. A rap in the window pane makes it difficult to see clearly, but Brad explains to Tracy who the people are and what must be done to them. No, Tracy protests, I could never do that. But in her heart, she knows that she could and will. In the hours that follow, Tracy is drawn deeper and deeper into Brad's deadly scheme until she is trapped in a nightmare and distorted as the twisted window. No, I have not read this. That does not sound familiar at all. So, yeah, we'll see how this one goes. And again, published in 1987. I was, depending on the month, now my birthday is in December, so in 1987, I would have been turning 4. So that I was 3 years old, more than likely, when this came out, unless it came out at the end of December, which I don't know. When is it? Oh, let's see. Nope, that says October 89 when the library got it. So, yeah, so I was like 3 years old. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, now what will hopefully be the last official roll for this particular game. Okay, not a double, but we'll see where this lands us. So a 6 and a 3, so I'm moving 9 spots. Make sure I'm going in the right direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay, yes, that is the last official roll for the Cat-Walk TBR. So I landed on Nap Time, which is a book that is greater than or equal to 500 pages. That is spot number 47. And Nap Time, we're on 3 spots on 3 marks on that. Okay. That is the game. Now I will wrap up this video. So the 5th official last roll for my Cat-Walk TBR game for April is Nap Time. So cats can take very long naps. So this is to read a book that is greater than or equal to 500 pages. This particular book that I have selected will complete the first trilogy in a collection of series, like trilogies. I think one's a quartet. But the first trilogy will be completed, and this is 838 pages, so it definitely fulfills the prompt. I'm going to go with Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. So I have purchased the next trilogy that's up to this, which I think is the Live Ship Traders or something like that. So I have the next trilogy ready to go. But this will be the last book in the Farseer trilogy. So we'll be following Fitz. He is the bastard son of King in Waiting Prince Chivalry. Chivalry abdicates his throne when Fitz shows up on the palace doorstep by his maternal grandfathers, like he wants nothing to do with them. And then Fitz is raised by the stable hand. The king takes an interest in Fitz, and he's trained up to be the royal assassin. Because he is the bastard son, he can mingle with people who are not of the royal family and be more accepted by them because he's not fully royal. But yet he can mingle with the royals because he is royal. So he can kind of cross different boundaries and lines. And he is trained up to be an assassin, so he can listen and he can kill and hide and all this stuff. So this is the last book in that series, in that trilogy. So I am looking forward to finding out what's going to happen next with Fitz. So I'm excited to get back into this. So that is it. These are, if I can even hold them up, the physical books on my TBR. There we go. And then of course I have how many digital? 2 audiobooks and I think 2 ebooks. Yes. So I have 4 additional books on this stack. So, but physically, not too bad. The bottom 3 are for my Cat-Walk. Everything else is from Sam's TBR game, and hopefully I'll get to as much of these as possible. So talk to me in the comment section below. Let me know if you've read any of these before. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.